Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Talented Universe. Before I welcome our fabulous guest today, I'd like to just say hi to our co-hosts and see if they've got any news for us. Liz, you're right next to me, so let's start with you.
Everything is actually going pretty decently. Weather's starting to warm up again, but other than that, good to go.
Yeah, I love your bricks. That is just
Don't even start with the bricks.
I know we had some technical issues today, so yeah, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Marcia, how are you doing?
Hi, good morning. I am doing great here in sunny, steamy Florida, and I am ready for another great live chat.
Great. Well, I'm going to have Liz introduce our wonderful guest and let her have the first question.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. Hey, we have with us today one of probably the most coolest up-and-coming actress on verticals there are out there. Every time I turn around, I'm seeing your face, girl. We have Kirby Ellwood with us today, and I have all sorts of questions.
Ooh,
So,
look out,
um,
Kirby.
I will save one of the cooler ones that Michael normally asks, and I won't steal his question because I have a different one. I have to ask, who or what? Because you have such a weird, interesting background. Who or what gave you the love of acting, and the different subjects that you study, which is really weird. You go from like microbiology and some of that stuff that you studied. How does that interpret into some of the roles that you do? Does that actually help out if you're doing a certain role that might deal like with medical or interior designing, which I know you studied in the past as well?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Well, also, thank you for having me. I just wanted to say that before I forget. So I'm so happy to be here. Um, wow, that's such a great question. Yeah, I in college I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was just like uh, like a feather in the wind. I was like, I just don't know what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I just was trying out a bunch of different things. So that's how I ended up going from interior design to architecture to molecular and cellular biology to integrative studies. I the molecular and cellular biology, I had this like epiphany during the summer. I was like, oh my goodness, I want to be a geneticist and I want to work on DNA and do all this stuff. And then I changed my major to that. And then I realized how much studying and math and this just was not
Mm-hmm.
my forte because I was like in like tutoring every single day, just
Oh,
trying to
wow.
get this down. And I was just like, oh, me and calculus are not friends. Like
Me
it was
either.
rough. And then it was hard. And I had this wonderful professor who he was Italian, so he had a really thick accent, and his I don't know how this makes sense, but his sixes looked like nines, and it was math, and so it was just a really rough time. So then I ended up switching to integrative studies, and I was like, I'm gonna be a YouTuber. And then I was like, well, no, I don't want to do that. And I was like, I'm gonna be a blogger. And then I was like, wait, I don't really like writing that much. That's not really my thing. So I don't know what happened. It was 2 weeks into the semester in college, and I kind of just was like, I'm gonna take an acting class on a whim because I was actually like, I used to be really, really shy, and getting up on stage and doing all that was absolutely terrifying for me. And but I don't know what happened. I just kind of fell into the class, and the teacher was like, "Are you sure? Like you're gonna feel like a little fish out of water?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'll be totally fine. It's gonna be great." And I did. I totally fell in love with it. Like all of my classmates and my teacher Jen, they were so wonderful and great, and you could just be your little weird self and have fun and dance around and do whatever. And I just fell in love with it. Um, and then I switched my major to theater, and I ended on that. But how that translates to roles, that's such I mean, I guess just like each part of each each part of that of myself that was doing that. I guess, I mean, it can translate. I don't quite know how, but I know each like, I'm not articulating this very well, but um, each part of me is in each of those characters, but I couldn't articulate how or why, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. But, the same thing goes, you're saying you're not that good at math, but doing what you do, and like you were explaining off air that you booked and then you're booking another one back to back to back, that has got to require a huge amount of organization. How do you keep
Yeah.
everything all organized? I mean, with me, it's, Franklin Planner and, sticky notes. I have Franklin Planners going back 30 years. So how do you do it?
I don't know. I think like I just have been developing a system on set, so like I have my binder pretty much, and I have my script in that. I have like a little pocket keeper where I have like these little tabs. So at the beginning of the day, for each day, I have each scene we're going to be doing in order, and I can just flip to each one. So I've been developing a system, and then I make sure I have this pen with me at all times. It's even like right here. Just so if I ever have notes or anything. And then I kind of started developing this like note card system. I also have it just like right here where I write everything down, and I can like highlight it off as I go, as like it's like a little reward, you just get to highlight it off. So I think just like coming up with systems that work for me has been like super vital for doing these, because I don't know how I would do that like without the note card system, to be honest.
Hey,
And I just put like
work.
yeah, and I put like silly things on it too, like wash my face, so I have more things to cross off. So like I feel
you
like
feel
I'm
better. Yeah, exactly. Michael, I'm going to throw it back to you because I know not only we have a couple of things in the chat room, but I know you want to ask your question.
Yeah, I do want to ask my question before Marcia steals it from me. But we have some highs for you. So I'm just going to post the highs and then one question, and then I'm going to go to my question. Okay, you ready, Kirby? Okay. Beanie on Tour says, "Hey, Kirby." Wanda Brewer says, "Hey, Kirby, you're my favorite actress."
Thank you so much.
And then Owlin says, "Hi." Somebody you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, and then Wanda has a question. Kirby, how is working with Casey Esser in Flash Vows and How to Divorce a Billionaire?
I love working with Casey. We just like have so much fun. We just laugh like a lot. I remember there was this one scene in How to Divorce. Ooh, I think it was in Flash Vows. I don't know. They're kind of merging in my brain, but
I understand.
because I'm like, it's all just one show. We were doing this scene where he was like I always mix this up. He was putting like cream on my shoulder or something. And I don't know what it was, but him and I could not stop laughing. Like it was the funniest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. I couldn't tell you what was happening that day. It was right before lunch. And so we could not pull it together. And we finally did. And then all of a sudden, one of the crew's stomachs started like growling. And then the whole crew just started like breaking down laughing. And I don't even think we got the shot because they were like, well, that's lunch. I think they must have used one of our bad takes. But yeah, him and I just laugh the whole time. It's really great. I miss him, actually.
Yeah, we had him on, a week or two ago. So he's a great guy. He's a great guy. So my question that we asked everybody, and we asked Kirby, and we asked everybody, in your own words, describe a vertical drama. Everybody's has been different.
I think they're like, I kind of have two answers. I think they're like little mini telenovela soap operas, or they're like the romance novels or of like movies.
Cool.
Have you gotten that one before?
No.
Something similar, but not exactly that. No.
Okay.
Especially the second part.
Yeah.
But
The soap opera part, yeah, but the other part, no.
no. What's your favorite line from How to Divorce a Millionaire? Kirby Wanda wants to know. Kirby.
Oh my goodness. I wish I had an answer for this, but I don't remember what I've said on that show, to be honest.
Well, then I will change the
Kind of one of
question.
those.
What is the best line that you remember that you've had to deliver? How about that?
I mean, okay, this is my favorite scene ever. I've had with Violet on Billionaire Matchmaker when I introduced Sunshine 1964. I think I was so excited to find that scene. It was the best. It's just like the best scene I've ever watched in my entire life. My character was supposed to be laughing in the corner, and honestly, I didn't even tell me rolling. Actually, just like watch this scene play out, and I could not handle it. It was just like, it was so funny, man. Have you guys seen that scene?
I have, as far as that goes. I don't know about the other two. I happen to be a very avid vertical watcher, so. Stop laughing, Marcia.
Oh, it's so funny. She puts her teeth like on the counter. Not to spoil anything, but like,
yeah.
Oh, she's such a trooper. I love her. She's so funny. And she was an actual like beauty queen back in the day. Like all those pictures were like really hers. That was her whole book. I was like, damn, girl.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Well, let us go over to Marcia now for a few questions.
Hi, thank you. There is a fun story. You've been in so many roles, and then I saw that you have been in the movie 80 for Brady. 80 for Brady.
Yeah.
And can you tell us about how you got on the film and how you got the fun line that you got to say?
Okay,
Yeah,
Marcia, you got revenge from yesterday.
That was such a funny story. I was doing background on 80 for Brady. And because I used to do a lot of background back in the day, just to like, get on set and feel involved and just really watch how a big set runs. And they were doing this scene where the four ladies were like dancing to get into the Super Bowl. And I was just one of the fans at the Super Bowl, just waiting to, watch the game. And they were filming the security guard. It was his coverage because he didn't let them in to the game. And the director had him do a few takes, and then he goes, they're still going. He tells the security guard, he's like, okay, now ask the crowd what they think. And so he turns around and he looks directly in my eyes and he goes, what did you guys think? And in my brain, I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to say something. Like, what am I just going to oddly? Like, I was like, that would be so weird. I can't do that. So I was like, amazing. Like, I just blurted it out. And then after it happened, I was like, oh my goodness, you idiot. You're not supposed to speak your background. But the director, he just laughed. He was like, how? He was like, moving on. And I was like, okay, great. But got my line in the movie, which is such a, afterwards, I felt like such a rookie. I was like, oh no, Kirby. I don't know. I mean, it all works out, right?
Yeah. You took your opportunity.
I did, unintentionally. It was an accident, really. I didn't mean to speak. It's just what came out of me. I was like, improv.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you happen to be an NFL fan, or did you know who Brady was or is?
You know what? I'm not a big sports fan other than gymnastics because I used to do that back in the day, that and ice skating. But I know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's kind of hard to not know who Tom Brady is.
Right. Well,
But
that was
yeah, it's a
very
really good
fun.
movie. I remember actually me and my friends, I actually didn't know that I was going to be in that movie either. Totally thought they were going to completely cut the line. Um, like I don't remember who, but someone messaged me on Instagram before the movie even came out, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, you're in this movie," and I was like, "What are you talking about? No, I'm not. Like, I'm definitely not in that movie." And he was like, "Yeah, you are. I just saw the pre-screening of it. Like, you're absolutely in it." So then me and a bunch of my friends, we decided we were going to go to the theater and watch it. So I actually got to see myself on the big screen. And as soon as it came on, me and all my friends were like giggling and cackling. But it was a really cool experience to like watch yourself on the big screen for the first time because it's like the one thing you've been like working towards forever. But it was a really, really cool experience.
Thank you. Michael?
Yeah, let's see. We have a couple. Let's see. Wanda has a few more questions. Let me get this other one from Wanda. Kirby, how was working with Jeff Violet and Mark Pontarelli?
Oh, I love those two. I love, 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 love working with them. Mark and I actually know each other. We did Halloween Horror Nights together, like before we started doing all these verticals. So it was really cool to be in acting roles with him. And he's so amazing. He's so good. And Jeff, I love Jeff too. Him and I had actually met because he came to a screening of one of my vertical shows. It was the Spoiled by Four Billionaires, and he came because he knew the director. And very briefly at that. So then I found out that we were working together. I was like, oh my goodness, thank goodness it's someone I know. Like this is gonna be so fun. And we really did have the best time. I was like, oh, star-studded cast for sure. And then we also had a really great time because Casey Jackson, the director of Billionaire's Matchmaker, he was just, I feel like he took all of our acting to a new level. He really knew how to direct us and pull these like really beautiful and unique moments out of us that I think really elevated our performances. Yeah, I love all of them so much. And they're so talented.
Great. Liz, go ahead.
Actually, I have a question for you. I know that you've done at least one project where you're like a PA, a productions assistant. Do you
Mhm.
plan on doing more of that and maybe starting to do more work behind the camera and in front of the camera? Or
I'm a production assistant for years full time before I started doing verticals full time. Like that was my full time job. Mostly doing like a lot of commercial stuff, but because I always wanted to like get behind the camera and learn how everything worked, and again, like feel a part of the process. I hope I don't go back to being a production assistant. I hope I've left that in the past, but I am interested in, writing some verticals, or I probably would love to direct at some point, maybe not
yeah,
uh, anytime soon, because I'm just really happy doing all the acting stuff. Uh, but maybe I'll leave the door open to all of that. But I definitely don't want to go back to PAing. It's a hard job, and I have a lot of appreciation for everybody who does that because it's tough.
it's hard work.
It is hard work.
Speaking of going back, if you could go back to your younger self and tell yourself one life lesson that they should learn now instead of learning it down the road, what would it be?
It would probably have to be just don't care about what people think of you, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I think I was really self-conscious and super shy and like worried about what people thought of me. And then I kind of just realized recently that I'm going to be who I'm going to be, and who cares what anybody else thinks, you know?
Yeah, most definitely. So,
Mhm.
if you had a chance, there was a time machine, and you got put
Mhm.
back in time several years, and Christopher Nolan came out and said that he would like to have you on Interstellar, would you say yes or no? And I nailed that one specifically for you, my dear, because I know you love the movie.
How do you know that? Wait, that's
Oh, listen.
crazy.
Oh, she just knows things. She stole all my spy satellites that I had around her house,
Yeah.
and she moved them, I think, to yours. So yeah, that's why. Mhm.
That's incredible. Absolutely. I love that movie because every time you watch it, you're like discovering something new that you didn't
New.
notice the first time. It's like, and it's pretty realistic too. Like in my mind, I'm like, that can totally 100% happen. Like I've heard that the science is pretty accurate in that movie.
Wow.
I would die to be on that movie. Oh my goodness. I'd literally fall over right now.
Okay, Michael, I'm going to shoot it back to you now that I've embarrassed her.
You always have a zinger. You always get them.
Sorry.
Always get them. Marcia, you got one of those for her too, or?
Well, I don't have a zinger like Liz does, but I find I'm fairly newer to the vertical dramas, and
1 month
I,
different than me, Marcia. That's it.
and one thing I always get a kick out of are the titles. The titles can
Mm.
be so outrageous and so ridiculous. And at first I thought, well, why are they doing that? But now I see more. They have to bring attention to the picture. So, say for instance, your one of yours was straight A pregnancy, and and I think, okay, now what could this be about? So, and particularly that role, looking at you in that role, was that kind of was that one of your earlier ones, or?
I wouldn't consider. I guess it was one of my earlier ones. I would
Mhm,
say it was like in the middle.
mhm.
Because I remember filming that in. Ooh, when did we film that? Um, maybe like no, maybe it was during the summer. I think we filmed it like last summer. So I guess yeah, it was a while ago now. I just remember really liking the script on that one. But when I saw the poster, the A was so small. I was like, did they really call this straight pregnancy? I was like, that is a very direct title. But I was like, oh no, straight A pregnancy because they made the A like super small,
Small.
They probably did that on purpose.
Mhm.
probably to give people a second glance. They're like, straight
Hmm.
pregnancy. Oh no, straight A.
But the plots move so quickly,
Yeah.
and how in the world do you keep track of the roles you go in and out of a role? How do you put yourself into it and move through it and then go to the next one so quickly?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think it's just, well, for me, these verticals are basically like sprinting a marathon. Like that's what I've always kind of described them as. It's like you're running full speed ahead, trying to get to the finish line.
Mm.
Um, and I think it's just you just have to kind of do it. You just make it work. I don't really have a system or a way. It's just out of like I must do it. So that's what I kind of force myself to do. You know, you're just like, well, this is what my day is. This is how it's going to go, and that's just what it is. And you just find ways to kind of navigate it as you
Mhm.
go. Like I said, my binder, that's how I navigate it because I make sure I have my script, I highlight everything, I highlight my action lines so that when I'm on set, I don't really have to read so much. I just have to like see my key points like on the page. So because they're highlighted. So I could be like, okay, he grabs my arm here. I say my line. I run here. So it's like kind of breaking down the script into like bullet points, I would say. So I don't have to like take the time to like constantly be like reading, I guess. Just like little things to help you like save time.
Mhm. Now that you have a lot of fans, I've discovered. How was it to discover that you do have fans, and was that kind of a surprise, or what did that feel like?
Oh goodness. I still don't think I believe it. You know what I mean? Like I'm still just like, wait, people kind of know who I am. Like I think I'm still in that spot where I'm like, no, they don't know who I am. Like, no, never. Although I did get, this is crazy. I did get recognized in when I was in Shanghai. I had a fan message me on Instagram and they were like, "Oh my goodness, I saw you at Uniqlo. I I love your shows." Like, I was like, "Oh my goodness, you should have come and said hello. Like that would have been so nice." They're like, "Oh no, I'm too shy." I tried to convince her next time, but then apparently she saw me again later at a tea shop, and I was like, "This is so crazy." Um, so getting recognized in public has been like a little. I still don't really. I just don't believe it. But I also love everyone who's ever messaged me, and like I really appreciate it. Like it means so much to me, and because I've been working, like I've been acting for 6 years now, and to have all these people like really like my work, it really just it means a lot to me. So I love them all, and I appreciate everybody. So
Yeah,
if
I
you're
think
watching,
this is a question in the chat room. I think it was very similar to what Marcia asked, but I am going to throw it up, and you can expand if you want. How do you get into character in each role? I kind of think that's kind of what she asked, because I recognize that you always are a different person in each role. So if you have anything to expand on what you said, I just wanted to make sure they got a little credit that they probably Marcia asked the question and then they'd already just typed it. It happens all the time because there's a little bit of a delay. So
yeah, it is a really good question. I mean, it really depends on like the character. Like sometimes I try to change my voice a little bit because like some characters I feel like are softer, and some are more abrasive and some are like quicker. Um, I mostly just like to change like the pace of how I that character moves and flows throughout their little world.
mhm.
I think that's the biggest thing I do, and then how they speak too is a big indicator of how they're going to be processing everything. I also try to lead with um, emotions and feelings. Like that's kind of where I like to come from for every scene. I was like, how am I feeling, and how is the character feeling, and how do they feel about this character, this character? Um, that seems to be doing me well. So I think I'm gonna keep doing that. I hope that helped answer that question.
Yeah. Okay. And then we have Rio B just throws up a couple of hearts for you, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, Mario, I love you so much. I can't believe you're here.
Oh, so you know
He's
them
like,
too? Oh, yeah. Oh, your friends, huh?
yeah,
Well, that
one of
is
my
cool.
best friends, Mario. Love
Okay,
you.
and Wanda asked, this will be the last one, then I'm going to go, I'll go back to Marcia because I did cut her off. Kirby, do you like playing the villain or good girl in the vertical series? Or do you like both? I'll add to that.
You know what? I really like both. I like roles that are challenging and different from what I normally play. So I did just play a villain role in Song of My Mother's Tears. And that was my first real like real big villain role because I did another one on back of Unwanted Bride a long time ago, when I first started doing verticals. But this was my first like meaty villain role, and it was really hard actually because I realized that the villain roles have a lot of dialogue. They have a lot of just like chunks of dialogue because they're kind of explaining to the audience what is going on, you know. So that was a new experience for me. I spent many hours memorizing. But it was so fun to not be the kidnapped and be the kidnapper, because I feel like I'm always the girl who's just like kidnapped. I'm like, no, please save me. So it was really fun to actually have that whole mean monologue moment to my wonderful friend Lexi, who's the lead of Song of My Mother Tears. I would really like to do some more villain roles. I don't know. I did really enjoy it. I would love to play a different kind of villain, you know, maybe a little more soft-spoken one, a little sneaky one. That would be kind of fun. But I also really do like playing my good girl roles too. Like I think in my heart, those ones really, I really reside with those ones a lot.
That was going to be one of my questions. Okay, move on.
Mine too.
Marcia, yeah, one more. Are you having one more, Marcia? Or
Yeah, I do. Looking at the progression of vertical dramas, it's moving so quickly and changing and morphing and into other things. I saw that. Do you have a role as in a vampire one coming up, or?
if you can't stay, or
Right.
just don't.
Well, I saw it on your
make your
IMDb page, so I figured.
Oh, that's that could be it's not a vertical actually.
Oh,
that one is
okay.
a short film.
Which
Yeah,
is fine.
How's
We
that
talk
with
about
vampire?
those too, so don't worry about it.
I've done
I
a
saw
bunch
it
of
was.
short films over the years,
Mm-hmm.
so that one is
Oh,
one I did
okay.
last summer. Yeah, that one was fun.
Uh-huh.
I think we still
So,
have to do a pickup day for that film actually.
how do you feel that that verticals are progressing? Do you see it going into something even more than they are now? I've seen some.
I think it is going to evolve for sure. It has to. I just don't know what direction it's going to be going in. I know Netflix is now going to be doing vertical shows, is from what I've heard.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more vertical content. I think it's just going to keep going, and obviously bigger platforms are going to start evolving to doing vertical. I don't think it's going to be in the same wave, because I think verticals is a very specific genre. But I think the scripts are going to start getting better, and we're going to have more new tropes coming up, like vertical tropes. Like I think I definitely see that happening, because like you said, everything is just so fast when it comes to the verticals.
mhm.
But I'm excited to see like how it goes.
Since Michael's gone, I get to ask you another question.
Oh, who said you?
What do you think has been either one or a couple of the products you've been in that you hear the most from fans about? What are some of the ones that they keep saying they love?
Final Call for Love. I hear about that one all the time. That's kind of, I think, my biggest show. And it's crazy because that was my third vertical ever. Like Final Call for Love was my third vertical, because I got a day player role based off my demo reel randomly in Billionaire's Baby Bargain. I think I had a day player role in that. And then my next one, I booked the lead, 1 Million Reasons to Love a Prince. And then I was in a hotel in Napa doing a callback for Final Call for Love. And then I booked that one. And yeah, I think that one came out in June, and that one completely changed my life. I also hear that one was really big, and so was it seems to be Billionaire's Matchmaker and Straight A Pregnancy are kind of my big ones. And then Cohabitating Lover just came out, and that one seems to be doing really, really well too. So I'm like, oh, that one was really fun. Cohabitating Lover. I really, really loved the script. It was super rom-commy. You don't see a lot of that like in verticals, and I love, like, it was just, I just loved filming every second of that one. Like I got to play no crying. Well, I think there's a little crying, but it's purely fun.
I have a question for you. You know, there's a convention coming up for
I
all
do.
the vertical.
Now
Are
she
you
stole.
going
Now
to?
you stole my question. Okay, go.
Oh well, revenge is fair. Are you going to be coming, or have you
I
been invited?
am. I will be at Vertical.
Awesome.
I will.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm just also excited to like be around all of my peers too, because we don't get a chance to hang out that much. And there's still people I haven't met. And it'll be really nice to have all our wonderful vertical people on one spot.
It will be great. Unfortunately, I don't think a lot, at least some of the ones we've talked to, a lot from Australia are going to be coming because of the distance. But I do
Yeah.
know a lot of the LA based and even, some of the New York type based and Vancouver based are all going to be there. But I wish we could
Yeah.
get out more into, like Beijing and China and Australia. And we are even, I've noticing, even getting some stuff like from Belgrade and all of that. So
Where?
Belgrade,
Where? Yeah. Where's that?
Serbia. My mind.
Mm-hmm.
We have a show that shoots regularly in Serbia. It's called The Ark. And
Oh.
actually, they're doing a couple other shootings with a couple other shows. Librarians is now one of them. They're all a Dean Devlin project. And
Uh-huh.
he has been shooting a lot in Serbia. So the accent, we hear it so much that now when I'm starting to see vertical actors and actresses come across, I'm like, that's a Serbian accent. And then when I've gone and asked them, they're like, yes, we're just starting out in the business. English isn't great and everything, but man, they've nailed the parts that they've got. So
Oh, I
it's
love you.
really fun to
I know they're
watch. Yeah.
filmed like everywhere. Like verticals are being filmed everywhere.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I love that I get a chance to travel doing this too. Like I always said I wanted to travel the world and now I'm doing it working. And I think it's really amazing. And I'm so grateful for all the experiences that verticals have, changed my life really. Cause I was, like I said, I was, working full time as a PA and now I'm working full time as an actress because of the verticals. And I couldn't be more grateful for that because I really do love doing them. They're really fun.
Kind of as a thinking question, at least, so probably one of my last questions. What type of actor or actress would you like to, who's your number one fantasy actor or actress to star a role opposite of? Let's say you were the lead. Who else would it be? And it can be anybody in the vertical world, anybody in the horizontal world, be it movies, TV, whatever, or living or dead, even. You can do that.
Oh, that changes everything. But
Okay,
I don't think it changes
one. You can choose one dead, and then you can choose one living. How's that?
Okay. Oh, you know who I would have loved to work with, who has passed away, is Betty White. I have just always loved her. Like, I think she is the funniest woman ever. I just always loved watching anything she was ever in growing up. And her in Golden Girls. I used to watch the Golden Girls all the time.
Well, you know what's funny? I was about your age. I was about your age when I started watching Golden Girls when it originally ran. And now that I am their age plus, it's even more funny. I don't know if you feel the same way or not, Marcia, but it's like you get those jokes in a whole other way.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that show. It's been so long. But I would have loved to work with her. And then living, I really hope I have two. Can I say two? I'm gonna say two.
Yes.
I would really love to work with Zendaya one day. She is an idol for me. I love everything she's ever done, to be honest. And then Florence Pugh, because I saw her in Midsummer. I don't know if it's Midsommar or Midsummer, but I was just obsessed with her in that role. And those two have been my icons. So please, universe, talented universe.
No, you never know. The wish is out there. You never know. You can hear it.
Put it out there, and the universe delivers occasionally.
Yep. Michael, did you want to?
Did you post any questions from the chat room? while I was gone?
No.
Okay, because there was one of Alan says, cohabiting lover is my new fave. So funny.
A lot of people really love that one. That one was so funny. Classic rom-com.
Yeah, it says, we need a vertical with a great squad of villain with you, Molly, Kelsey would be great.
I would love to do a female run cast. That's on my bingo card. Like, if I can get in a female run cast vertical, it is my dream to do that. That'd be so fun.
And do you have a favorite series that you've done so far?
Ooh, danger question.
I know. So
Yeah.
I mean, this is from Wanda. It's not mine. So I'm not gonna. But I mean, if you do not want to answer because of what, well, Wanda will just have to understand. But I wanted to throw it out.
Well, I think, that's like picking a favorite child or like a favorite cookie, favorite ice cream. That's hard. I love them all for different reasons, like each one I've learned something new, or like I did something that was really challenging for me and I love it because of that. Or but
well, let me ask you this. This might make it easier. If you could choose the one that made you laugh the most, the one that made you cry the most, or the one that made you want to do more of, or now that might be scary, but the other two, what I said. So if you could pick one that made you laugh the most, even with the cast or whatever. What one made you laugh on set? I'm going to say on set.
I think I laughed the most in Single Dad Hunt. Yeah, me and Paul Addison, we just laughed the whole show because it was it's just so cute, and we had like this cute little daughter, and she was so, oh my god, she is so funny. Like in real life, I was like, you were just like a little comedian. Like she was the main reason we laughed so much on that show. What was the other one? That made me cry the most? Final Call for Love. I swear I cried every scene in that show. I think those were all real tears too. I don't think I used a cry stick in that show because I don't think I knew what a tear stick was at that point. So anytime you saw a tear in that show, those were my blood, sweat, and tears.
The real thing.
Those were the real thing, especially the scene where I lose my baby in that show. That was like, they let me prepare for like 10-20 minutes before I did that, because normally you don't get any time to prepare.
Yeah.
So that was
that's what we've heard.
Real emotional scene. But they let me, which was really wonderful. So I think that's why that scene turned out so good. What was the other one? There was one more you asked.
Well, I decided to get rid of that last one.
So, you cut it. Okay.
I cut it for me because I went, I don't even want to answer that. So I'm not going to make her. So, but let me ask you this: which
I didn't hear you. What was it?
I don't know if he froze or not. I think Michael froze.
No.
Well, tagging off of your fun one, I read something about you and your first wearing of a baby bump.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I think we went off air for a few minutes, everyone.
Yeah.
We're off. Okay.
I think we went off.
Oh.
And that was, yeah.
That is weird.
Yeah, but I said there was an electrical power thing over here. That's why I had to leave for a minute, because I heard something.
I thought so.
And I thought that's what it was. So, yeah. So I mean, everything just went. So I think we're back on. Liz, I'm going to hold it over to you. I'm going to double check our feeds to make sure they're working.
That's fine.
So you go. So you're in charge right now.
Okay. Actually, Marcy, you were asking her one question real quick.
Yeah, there was a scene where you talked about your first wearing of a baby bump. That was pretty funny.
Oh, I love those baby bumps. Oh my goodness. I just really enjoy like it's just like obviously I've never been pregnant, so like faking being pregnant is just so fun for me. I remember this one scene, it was in straight A pregnancy, and I had to wear that baby bump like that pretty much the whole film because I'm pregnant for a lot of it. And Mariah, the costume girl, she had this silicone it was like a girdle. So you have like the straps and then you stick in this like silicone belly and it feels so real. Like it feels like your own skin. Like it's so weird. And I remember we did this scene in the hot tub and I didn't think anything of it. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna get in the hot tub and do the scene." I was like, "Okay, great." With the baby. Cool. But the belly kept floating because it's silicone.
No.
I had to like hold down the belly like on top as we're doing this scene. And then it was so ridiculous. So if you do see that scene in the belly, it could be floating because I don't know if I did a very good job holding it down. It was so funny. And then I also remember I was driving home one night after I'd been wearing it all day. And I was so used to wearing it. I would put my cups on it. Like I was just like hanging out, you know? And like I said, I was driving home. I go to put my hand on my stomach and it stops where the belly was. And I was like, oh, like just about, I was like, put it there. And I was like, oh, and I like touched my actual skin. I was like, it's not there. I was like, it turned into this like comfort thing for me where anytime I was like thinking about anything, I would just sit there like rubbing my stomach. I'm like, it was just like a funny thing. It changes your whole physicality too, like how you walk and
Mhm.
say
yeah.
anything. I started like for a while when I was wearing it, I would start like getting like, oh, I had the freaking belly on. And people started like helping me up. They're like, "Oh, do you need?" I was like, "You know, I'm not actually pregnant, right? Like, I'm good. I'm just faking it just for fun."
Getting into the role.
Yeah.
Well, just for everybody's info, Lynn says I was the only one that froze, but since I was hosting the podcast, I was afraid that it had died. So, but everything's working good, so that's good.
Good.
Okay.
I'm glad.
I have one question for you. I know you have an interesting story with a fuzzy caterpillar. Did you happen to name it at all or have it as your pet while on set?
Fuzzy caterpillar on Final Call for Love.
Uh-huh. I
Oh,
guess it
oh,
was
oh,
in
oh.
between takes and it came and visited you.
Yeah, it did. It was like
It was
on our
traumatic.
plane.
She blocked it out.
Obviously.
Yeah. I do remember the caterpillar. I don't remember if we named it or not, but I do remember it was really cute. But it was like in the middle of the take, so we had to move it because it was crawling up our blanket because we were in the middle of the woods.
Ah, okay. So you
Yeah.
didn't want it to be your new co-star.
You know what? I really did, but I don't have the time to take care of him properly. He really deserved more than what I could give him.
I know that's silly. I just had to ask because it's
No, I
something
love
I've
it.
seen. But okay, Michael, I'm going to shoot it back to you.
Yeah, I was going to say we're on final questions now. So, Liz, did you have a final question?
No, the caterpillar was it.
Caterpillar was it? Marcia, do you have a final question for
Well,
Kirby?
we want to know when you have 5 minutes of off time, what do you do for your fun and your off time to unwind?
Oh, good question. I feel like a lot of my off time recently has been doing admin work. So like
Oh, lovely.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
like I'm like on my phone texting people back after 2 weeks of not texting them. Like it's so bad. So I do a lot of that on my days off, but if I'm not, I try to get more massages than I used to because for some reason I just get really tense here. So I had like a couple weeks ago before I came to Vancouver, I had like an 80-minute massage and he just did my shoulders for 80 minutes because he was like, you okay? Like, what do you do for a living? Like, why do you make a million knots? And I'm like, just crying all day on set. It does it to you. But if I'm not doing that, I like to hang out with my friends whenever I can because, it's hard to, coordinate life things a lot of the time. So whenever I get a chance, my shout out to my best friend Cleo Sealander. I try to spend time with her whenever I can.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, here's the last question I'm going to post, and if you don't want to answer it, I understand, and I hope they'll understand. Do you watch other verticals? And if so, who would be your favorite actors to watch?
Oh,
If you'd rather not do verticals, just say movies in general.
you know what? I watch a lot of the clips that come across my feed because obviously I follow like all the amazing vertical actors.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't watch them on my own. But I know, but like everyone who I've ever seen in any of them has been like really good. Like I love watching. I remember I saw this one clip of Kira Wisely in a werewolf one where she was like mating and she was just like rubbing up against whoever her co-star was, and I was like, I want to watch this one so bad because it just looked so funny. What was the rest of that question?
I'll throw it back up. Hold on.
I don't know. All of the girls. I just love watching all of the girls. But I mostly watch, as of right now, I mostly watch TV shows. So I'm watching The Studio right now with Seth Rogen on Apple TV. So I watch a lot of that.
Well, that's cool. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell your fans out there in cyberspace before we go, or are you pretty good?
I guess the only updates I have are Cohabitating Lovers out on Real Short, and so is my first big villain role, Song of My Mother's Tears, and then I have like 5 more shows in the universe waiting to come out. So be on the lookout.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
No, I think there's actually more because I just wrapped one and then I'm doing another one. So we'll see. There's more to come of me.
Yeah, and then we love you, Kirby. So that's a good way to end. We love you too.
Yep.
And yeah, so but we would like to say goodbye. Thank you everyone for coming out to see Kirby. Now quickly, I am going to go over, we have some vertical people next week also. And I am just going to tell you it is on Monday, the 19th, at this same time, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. We have Chance McCoy. And in the evening on Monday, we have Michael Joseph Pierce on our Monday Night in America show, and it will be simulcast on Talented Universe. So you'll be able to see it there. And on the 22nd, which I believe is Thursday, Juliette Chevelle will be on at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And if anybody, probably nobody is, but I need to do this because I just found out we have Dean Devlin coming back on to talk about his new series on TNT, The Librarians, the next chapter, the sequel to the original Librarians. So if anybody's interested in that, we'd love to see you in the chat room. The podcast with Dean will be sadly a short one because he is doing a lot of podcasts that day for to promote the new show. So on behalf of NDB Media and Talented Universe, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kirby.
Bye. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Kirby.